For 3 seconds no one moved, no one breathed. The sound of the slap still echoed across the grand hall of the Galactic Council. She had done nothing wrong, just asked a question, a simple, calm question. But the alien soldier, tall and proud, with silver skin, didn't like being questioned by a human girl. Without warning, he struck her across the face. Hard. Everyone saw it. Everyone froze. Then came the sound that changed everything. A quiet step. 1. Then 2. He stood. No one had noticed him before. A human man dressed in black, standing silently near the wall. His eyes were calm. Too calm. In a single fluid motion. He walked forward. The alien soldier barely had time to blink. Crack. His skull shattered like glass. He dropped to the floor dead. Gasps filled the room. The girl didn't cry. She looked at the broken body and whispered, "He warned you not to touch me." The protector turned away, silent again. And in that moment, the entire galaxy realized humanity was not weak. It had just been polite. Until now. The hall was silent, terrifyingly silent. One alien delegate vomited. Another dropped his datapad. The Galactic High Chancellor didn't speak. He couldn't. The dead soldier's blood spread across the silver floor, glistening beneath the council lights. The human man, her protector, stood still, his face unreadable. He hadn't run. He hadn't hidden. He simply waited. Guards surrounded him, but no one dared move. The girl touched her bruised cheek gently, then looked at the council. "You saw it," she said. Her voice was soft, but it echoed louder than any siren. "He struck me. He thought we wouldn't respond." The alien ambassador stepped forward, trembling. That was our best war tactician. You shattered his skull in 3 seconds. The human finally spoke, calm as stone. 3 seconds was a courtesy. Whispers filled the room. Who was this man? What kind of human could do this? And how many more like him were hidden on Earth? The Galactic Council had always seen humanity as fragile, amusing. But today, they saw something else entirely, and it scared them. The Galactic Council reconvened behind closed doors. For the first time in centuries, there was fear in their voices. "Killed one of us." Inside this chamber, a reptilian delegate hissed, "This is an act of war." "No," the High Chancellor said, his voice shaking. It was ... a response. The human ambassador stood calmly at the center. "Your soldier struck a civilian child, an unarmed girl. That was your act of war. But your man, he didn't even hesitate," cried another delegate. The ambassador gave a thin smile. "He was trained not to. He's one of our sentinels. There are others. All taught to act in seconds, not ask in minutes." Silence fell again. "Are you threatening us?" One council member growled. The ambassador's eyes turned cold. "No, we're explaining. You assumed humans were soft. We're not. We're disciplined. You assumed we were slow. We're not. We're watching always." Then he added, almost as an afterthought, "He isn't our strongest, just the closest." The room turned colder. For the first time, the Galactic Council considered a dangerous new thought. Maybe Earth was not the junior species anymore. He was born nameless, in a facility buried deep beneath the Siberian ice. There were no families, there only trials. From the age of 5, he was taught to fight in zero gravity, survive on toxic planets, and disarm war machines while blindfolded. He was not raised with kindness, he was built with purpose. They called him Sentinel-7. He never failed a test. He never asked why. Pain was routine. Emotion was weakness. Mercy was forbidden. When others broke, he stood. When others hesitated, he struck. By 15, he had beaten elite special forces in full combat drills. By 20, he had already silenced 4 insurgencies alone. His final exam wasn't written. It was a live battlefield. And he walked off it the only one breathing. Back on Earth, no one knew his name. He lived in shadows, moved without sound. Until one day, he was assigned to a diplomatic mission. Protect the ambassador's daughter, they told him. Do not act unless necessary. For 5 years he said nothing, until a hand struck her face, and the weapon that had waited in silence finally moved, fast, precise, absolute. Sentinel-7 had awakened. News of the soldier's death spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within hours, the Zarnok fleet, proud, brutal, and still mourning their fallen warrior, gathered above Earth's orbit. Dozens of warships, thousands of weapons. One clear message: revenge. General Vactor, the dead alien's brother, growled through his gums. Crush them, burn their cities, make them regret ever standing up. But something felt wrong. Earth made no threats, no pleas, no surrender. Instead, their satellites moved silently, repositioning like chess pieces. Strange signals echoed across the stars. Then, Earth's response came, not in words, but in light. Above the moon, 3 human stealth ships decloaked. No heat signature, no visible engines, no known tech. And they were already targeting the Zarnok fleet. Back in Earth's command center, the general of Earth's space defense leaned toward the mic and calmly said, "Stand down, or vanish." On board the Zarnok flagship, alarms blared. Human targeting systems had already locked on, and none of their defense codes worked. Vactor froze. This wasn't a scared, backward planet. This was a trap, and humanity was daring them to step forward. Desperate for answers, the Galactic Union sent a covert agent, Kirill, master of stealth and espionage, into Earth's military command. His mission was simple: find out how one human could kill so fast, and whether there were more. He expected crude tech, primitive systems, maybe a few advanced warriors. What he found shook him. Hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains was Project Sentinel, a facility so secure, even its shadows had guards. Kirill accessed one terminal, just one, and what he saw chilled his blood. Hundreds of Sentinels, each stronger, faster, and colder than the last. He watched silent footage: a young woman disarming a nuke with bare hands, a teenager taking down a tank using only momentum, a man walking unharmed through a plasma storm. Then, a file labeled Sentinel-1 Unleashed. Kirill played it. The screen went black after 3 seconds. The log simply said, "Recording corrupted. Target neutralized the drone." Kirill backed away. He wasn't on a recon mission. He was in a graveyard, and the dead hadn't even started digging. Earth hadn't just created defenders. They'd built gods in human skin. The Galactic Council, shaken by silent threats and invisible weapons, called for urgent peace talks. Earth agreed without hesitation, but with one condition: Sentinel-7 would attend. The aliens hesitated. Why send a killer to a diplomatic table? But Earth's ambassador replied simply, "He represents our trust and our limit." The peace summit took place aboard a neutral space station. The room was elegant, shining with gold and crystal. But every alien eye was locked on one figure: Sentinel-7, standing quietly behind the human ambassador, hands clasped, expression unreadable. No armor, no weapons. He didn't need them. An arrogant diplomat from the Zarnok side smirked. "Is this a threat or theater?" Sentinel-7 didn't blink. "Neither," he said softly. "I'm just here in case words fail." The council tensed. A translator leaned toward his superior. "Is he bluffing?" "No," the elder replied. "He's promising." Halfway through the talks, an alien delegate secretly armed a defensive plasma blade, just in case. It overheated in his hand and exploded before he could even aim. Sentinel-7 didn't move. He had seen it, calculated it, disabled it without lifting a finger. The aliens no longer feared what humans would say. They feared what humans could do without saying anything. Just when the peace talk seemed stable, The Zarnok general stood up, snarling. You're bluffing. You show us one fighter and expect us to kneel. The human ambassador calmly nodded to Sentinel-7, who tapped a small device on his wrist. A massive hologram lit up the chamber, not one, not 10, but thousands, rows upon rows of sentinels, training in silence. No laughter, no weakness, just focus. One alien whispered, "How many are there?" "Enough," the ambassador replied. "And not all of them are human anymore." The next image appeared, human ships phasing in and out of visual space. They weren't cloaked. They simply didn't reflect light or time normally. Then came the orbital cannon arrays, built into Earth's crust, hidden under ice, oceans, and volcanoes. Each cannon locked onto targets with predictive AI. Some fired across solar systems with accuracy under 0.01%. "You never told us you had this tech," the Chancellor shouted. "We didn't lie," the ambassador replied. "You never asked." The aliens realized too late humans weren't threatening war. They were revealing how easily they could end one. And Sentinel-7? He just stood there, silent, watching, like a storm, waiting for permission. The room pulsed with tension. The Zarnok general stared at the holograms, jaw clenched. His fleet hovered near Earth, powerless. Every council member now understood. Humanity had never been weak. It had just been quiet. The High Chancellor looked at the ambassador. "What do you want from us?" The ambassador didn't blink. "Respect, equality, and for your soldiers to keep their hands off our children." One alien delegate snarled, "You can't intimidate the whole galaxy." Sentinel-7 stepped forward for the first time. "No," he said, "but we can survive you. That makes us dangerous." The girl, her cheek still bruised, stood beside him now. She looked at the alien leaders not with fear, but with calm, human defiance. "He hit me because he thought we were beneath him," she said. "That was your mistake." The room went still. The council had two options: declare war and risk extinction, or acknowledge that the humans were no longer below them, but beside them. After a long silence, the Chancellor finally spoke. "Earth is recognized as an equal power." And just like that, with no armies moved and no wars declared, the galaxy changed forever. Peace returned, but nothing was the same. Galactic news channels couldn't stop talking about Earth. The once overlooked, Death World species had risen to become a superpower, not through invasion, but through restraint. Alien children now studied human history in school. Military academies rewrote their combat manuals, factoring in one new rule: do not engage a sentinel. Across the stars, the sentinels became legend, ghosts, warnings. Some believed there were only a few. Others whispered that they lived among every diplomatic crew watching, waiting. As for Sentinel-7, he disappeared again. No rank, no medals, just a name erased from every record. But those who had seen him, who had watched him move, strike, and stand still like time itself, would never forget. In a quiet ceremony on Earth, the girl he protected laid a single flower on a steel monument. No name, no symbol, just a single sentence carved into the stone. 3 seconds was a courtesy. From that day forward, one unspoken truth echoed across the galaxy. Humanity did not rise through fear. They rose because, when pushed, they didn't flinch, and somewhere in the stars, a storm waited in silence, until it was needed again.